So, I want to take you guys on a psychological journey, one that most don't even realize that they're on and been on their entire lives. This journey is called The Road of the Lonely Scapegoat. This isn't a rant, it's not an attack, it's an explanation. And if you've ever helped somebody in a crisis, stepped in when others wouldn't, followed the rules, tried to do the right thing, and somehow you became the villain, this video is for you. I want you to know something first. Scapegoating is not personal, it's systematic. Psychology sees this pattern over and over and over again, families, workplace, communities, and institutions. So I want you to step out of emotion for a moment and walk with me through the pattern. Sorry if you got that far and saw that. You are the capable one. The road of the scapegoat almost always begins the same way. You're the functional one, you're the responsible one, the one who can think under pressure. You're the person people call when things fall apart. Not because you caused the chaos, but because you can handle it. That's not a flaw, that's a step up. Chaos is introduced. That's what happens. And it's important to say this clearly. The scapegoat does not create the crisis. Someone else drops the ball, avoids the responsibility, acts recklessly, or disappears entirely. And suddenly, you're standing in the aftermath. This is where most people don't realize the trap. You step in with logic, with ethics, with care. You follow the rules, you protect the vulnerable, you clean up what you didn't break. And here's the problem, your competence exposes their failure. Usually this is like in a narcissistic family dynamic. At this point, reality becomes psychologically intolerable for people who caused the damage. Because usually scapegoats tell truth and they just tell how it is, and the people that are the narcissists, parents, siblings, spouses, whoever, man, woman, they don't like the truth at all. So if you're telling them the truth, they're gonna smear campaign you. They're gonna black sheep you. They're gonna isolate you. Because if the truth stands, they would have to face shame, irresponsibility, and consequences. And some nervous systems simply can't tolerate that. This is the core psychological dynamic here. So something very specific happens. They take your response and rewrite it as your motive. It helps become control, protection becomes manipulation, responsibility becomes plotting. This is where the story flips. This is where the scapegoat is born. And here's what happened that people don't understand. The accusations are often extreme, like taking somebody on a cruise and then later saying that you were trying to murder them or something. That's extreme. Very extreme. Or saying, if narcissists said bought you a bike and you didn't ride it because the neighborhood dog chased you every time you're in the front yard, they turn around and say something extreme like, oh, you didn't allow so-and-so to ride it because you hate me. It's like they don't think clearly. It's delusional. It's like way out there. The smear campaigns is like just a side of them that you've never seen. So the accusations are often extreme on purpose, not because they make sense, but because they short circuit in their critical thinking. Really skewed. Outrage replaces logic, especially if you quit tolerating the abuse. Narcissists don't like boundaries, so if you set a boundary, they're gonna flip out. Is the term I use, I guess. People don't ask, is this plausible? They ask, who's the villain? And they will try to make you the villain and paint so many just unrealistic stories in their smear campaign. And it's to, if it's so unrealistic, people will believe it because psychologically in their brains, they want to try to take the path of least resistance. Not because it's true, it's just because, oh, the story, this outrageous, gotta have some truth to it, right? They don't set in question, you know, especially like narcissistic people, they tend to have flying monkeys, enablers, and people that are, you know, they don't want to go against the said narcissist, because if they do, oh gosh, wow, then they'll be in the doghouse, right? So it's like you either believe them, take their side at all costs, or you're in the shit house too. And they'll make life, you know, and the poor victims that see how they infiltrated this other person are gonna be like, well, I don't want that done to me, so yeah, I'm gonna take your side, you know. And that's why people don't, you know, narcissists don't like scapegoats, because they stand up for what's right regardless. So if somebody helps another person and doesn't want to get in the middle, but they just do it to be nice, oh, all hell breaks loose. You're not supposed to like that person. You're not supposed to be nice to that person because I don't like that person. So how dare you? Like just wow stuff, you know? So most people don't fact check emotional stories. They follow confidence, they follow intensity, they follow repetition, they follow group consensus, and questioning the story would require. Most people don't want to live in a space of uncomfortableness. They want to take the path of least resistance. And if they've known that person for a long time and they haven't seen that other side that the scapegoat has, you know, because narcissists are really good at playing the golden child. That I could never do that. I could never be like that. What is it that they are really quick to help other people, neighbors, friends, and then behind closed doors you get a different version of them. And I'm not talking about necessarily spouses. I'm talking about parents, mothers, fathers, siblings, sisters, brothers, nieces, nephews, whatever, you know. And but people unfortunately believe these ludicrous stories. Especially if you're a scapegoat that is an introvert, that doesn't put themselves out there. Because me, for instance, I'm a scapegoat, and I'm not gonna go and be like, make this big dramatic, scene and be like, look at me, I didn't do that. Like, I'm just the type that it's like, if you want to believe them, fine. Because it's like what they say, if you believe without asking the other person, a part of you already felt the same way to begin with. So there's that. And shame on you. Especially if you're a parent, I would never do that to any of my children. I would never, oh, your sister did something to you, and then just not talk to you and not even hear the side of the story. It's like, my children are my children, and I'm going to love all of them regardless. I'm going to have a relationship with all of them regardless. I'm going to talk to them regardless. And it's like, if they have sibling rivalry, I'm going to stay out of it because I love all of my children equally. But that is just my opinion, my thoughts. Some parents aren't like that. Obviously, there's a lot of cringy, gross parents out there, and I'm sorry if you have one or had to also deal with that. But anyway, getting back on track. So instead of asking what's true, they ask what's easiest. And blaming the scapegoat, is psychologically easier for people. A lot of people just don't want to get involved, and that's fine. They don't want to piss off so-and-so because they've known them longer or whatever. And I don't know. But the truth at the end of the day always comes out. Like, a lot of people have told me, being a scapegoat, after they've met me, spent time with me, got to know me, they're like, wow, I really can't believe so-and-so said that about you, because you are not the person they painted a picture of at all. But anyway, so this is usually where the scapegoat ends up really confused, rattled, and exhausted. Not because they're weak, but because they rely on reality, whereas the other people that are psychologically damaged do not. Like, some of the stories I heard were just, whoa, way out there. Like, where did you pick that up? Like, I am a truth teller. I think it's just easier than trying to keep up and tell lies. And I just don't do that kind of sneaky, weird shit to people. And I sit there and think, where did they get that from? Like, some of the stories that narcissists come up with are so far-fetched and far beyond reality. And like, something as simple as a trip to Walmart could turn into, I went to Disneyland and that person left me there and then I had to walk home. Like, just like shit that makes your brain go, what? Wow, rattle me stupid. Like, what the hell's going on here? But anyway, but that's what makes it more baffling, is because you got parents that are narcissists, siblings that are narcissists, the scapegoat, the golden child, all these things in this dynamic. And so it's like, where does the scapegoat find any peace and comfort with their surroundings environment? They don't, because they think, well, these people are supposed to be my parents and my supporters. Why don't they raise me? They should know I would never leave anybody at Disneyland and make them walk home. I'm a good person. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, but here's the part you don't want to hear. Scapegoats aren't chosen because they're broken. They're chosen because they're strong enough to strong enough to face what others refuse. And the moment you stop defending yourself and start understanding the pattern, like me, myself, I had to take like decades of psychology to understand my entire family dynamic, because when you grow up in it, you do not understand. You think this is normal. This is what other people live with and deal with, and you think sometimes, oh, they're just having a bad day, or what's going on, or you know, it wasn't until you actually heal yourself and take a step back from the situations that are toxic and dysfunctional that you open your eyes and you're like, wow, I should not have been put through any of that by any of my family members, and they should all be ashamed of themselves. And yes, if they're watching, that was directed to you. Can I say that legally without getting fucking sued? I don't know. That was directed at nobody. Okay. But I mean, influencers and YouTubers, they say, talk about family dynamics and psychological stuff. You know, they're probably talking about lived experiences, right? So maybe I'll edit that part out. Maybe I won't. Fuck, who knows? They already, half of them already comment on my stuff. You know, it's funny because I'm just talking in general and hoping that it relates to other people and people connect and we can talk and whatever. But the funny thing is I have a stalker that comments on all my stuff, and it's like, you know, I'm not trying to like put a spotlight on you. You're putting one on yourself by keeping stalking me and obsessing and fixating, and you know, like I must have really hit the truth bomb and it rattled the nerve or something. I don't know. Like they say, if the shoe fits, wear it. If it doesn't, then most people would move on, right? But anyway, scapegoats aren't chosen because they're broken. They're chosen because they're strong enough to carry what others refuse to face. And the moment that you stop defending yourself and start understanding the pattern, the road ends. That's when you start healing. You know, when you understand the patterns and dynamics, that's where the road ends. You wake up. You know, if this resonated, stay with me here for a minute. It's going to be a longer video, but I need to start making them instead of shorts all the time. Shorts are just easier, you know. Editing's hard. YouTubing is hard. Unless you have mad editing skills, which I'm still learning, so bear with me. I'm doing good, but could be better. I learn more every time, each time I do it. But anyway, so if your kindness was ever rewritten as a crime, listen to your body. When you're around certain people, even if they feel like family and good, you start feeling icky around them, you know? But anyway, scapegoats aren't created because they're bad. They're created because they step in when others won't. Then the people who cause the chaos rewrite the story so people don't have to face what they do, what they've done. And outrageous lies don't spread because they're true. They spread because they're easy. Like, you know, especially if people already might dislike you a little bit. They're like, oh, here comes the drama. I might as well cling on to that because I ain't got no life and I'm bored. Not because, you know, it holds any truth. Anyway, some people are like that too. They're bored, nosy, gossipers. That ain't me. I keep to myself. I don't entertain gossip and shit. I'd rather read a book or something. But anyway, the full psychological breakdown is linked in the comments. You're not crazy. You were carrying someone else's shame. You're not reclaiming power by exposing them. You're reclaiming power by naming the pattern. You know, and a lot of people that get abused, they stay silent because people are like, oh, I don't want to hear drama. I don't want the laundry aired publicly. But it's like, you know what? Air it. Why did people get to hurt people, break them down, shove them into a closet to be isolated, hurt, broken, and not have family love and support, just so they can stay comfortable and in their little family? I myself was quiet for too long, and I'm gonna, you know, having a really strong scholar academic background in psychology, they all just gave me more, you know, material to speak about. So I have oodles of trauma to share. I mean, that's not good, but we all have trauma, right? You know, I mean, thanks for the content material. Keep on being your dysfunctional, toxic selves, I guess. But anyway, you know, people should speak. It's like they say, it's not the victim. Wait, it's not the person that needs it that goes to therapy. It's always the victim. That's like this. It's like talk about it. Share your stories, you know? Hell, if you ain't got nobody to talk to, share them with me. I'll listen. Close that lonely door. But that's why it's going to land. That's why it's safe. That's why it's strong. Is because naming it is power. Talking about it gives you back your power, because like, no, these people don't get to do this to me. No more. So, but stay tuned for digital guides to help you with family drama I'll leave links in my description. You know, subscribe, like my video, and keep on watching. Namaste right here, and educate. Don't hate. Psychological educate. Well, let me add another note. I had a therapist a long time ago, and she said the best thing that you could ever do is get away from your whole entire family. And you know, I sat there and I was baffled. I was like, why would you tell me that? Like, I didn't understand, because they're my family. How do you just go be lonely without your family? But you know, after so long, you know, because God hears what's said behind closed doors. And he said, he sees what people say behind your back. People that you're loving, people that you're helping, people that you're family with, friends with. And if you're not strong enough to cut toxic ties with people, sometimes he'll do it for you, because he knows you're a good person and don't deserve that kind of treatment from other people. And I didn't. I was nothing but kind, nice, loving to my family. Always helped them when they needed it, you know. But there comes a time and a place where it's like, enough's enough. You know, I gotta start doing me. I gotta stick with my family. And I really look back on my life, and I wish that I could have done that a long time ago and been strong enough to been like, you know what, I gotta do me, I gotta do my family. You go over there, you stay in your lane, you go be an adult. I'm done with it. Move on. You know, stuff like that. But sometimes it's hard when you're in the thick of it, and you know, the day you love your family, even when they're freaking toxic. And I still love all my family. You know, they've said things to me that I wouldn't even say to my worst enemies. And that's really disheartening, because while you were talking shit behind my back, I was sticking up for you behind yours. And that's the difference between me and you. We're not the same. You know, I try to see the good in people, and people just kept seeing the bad, the shit, make up shit that wasn't there. So, chaos and drama like to follow darkness, and you just got to pick your self up and stay away from those kind of people, family or not. You need to move towards the light, because life's short and you need to be freaking happy. Even if you're hearing this and you're utterly alone, do something for yourself. Be happy. Know that even though it's hard, God cleared what no longer served you, that you was not strong enough to clear yourself. If this resonated with you, which I hope it does, because I know a lot of people aren't lucky enough to have, you know, the seventh heaven family home dynamics, or hell, even somewhat of a Roseanne Barr dysfunctional one. Some people come from just all kinds of I grew up watching Roseanne Barr and Married with Children, so, but somehow my family home life was a lot more dysfunctional than either of those two shows combined, let's just say that. But anyway, if it resonated with you, please stay with me, and the next video that I post will be about how to exit the scapegoat role completely. So hopefully that will be beneficial to people that are stuck in certain dynamics they don't want to be. So I hope I helped. Have a good day. Goodbye. Love you all. Namaste.